Nebula, everyone. Starseeker Williams here. Apologies for still looking tired. Need to move my camera. But I will likely be doing it after this stream. I was gonna play the Divine Invasion, but when I was setting everything up, it only had... The category only had 3 followers on Twitch, so I figured I'd play something a little more well-known. A little more with a chance of finding people. So, I've elected to play Raft instead. Look like I got hit in the eye. And it's just when I look to the left. Alright. But let's get going. Apologies, I overslept slightly from a nap. So it's going to take me a second to get everything set up. I have completed Raft before. This is not my first playthrough. There we go, girl. Let's just get going. New world. We'll go with... Not gonna set a password, I'm just gonna set it so friends can join. No friendly fire. Normal difficulty. Here we go. I would play this collab with other people, but other people don't have it. So maybe I will do that in the future. It's been a while since I've played, so hopefully I can catch back up. Nice and easy. Hi, Bruce. It's been a while. You didn't miss me too much, did you? Nice and calm. I want that barrel. Bruce immediately bit me. Oh, that's pretty bad. Get out! Ah! I was hoping to get out before Bruce could bite me again. Oh! My hook! Like I said, it's been a while since I played this. Crush me hammer. Okay, I need to stop jumping in the water. Bruce is actually gonna kill me. Let's see. Start off nice and calm. No need to rush. Just nice and chill. This game is actually quite nice. It's got a decent story too for being basically a social commentary. I keep pressing Q instead of tab. So, the first thing I want to do is expand my raft a little bit. I want to make it a 3x3 so I can safely put things in the center that Bruce can't destroy. Because the shark eats the raft. We're probably going to have to deal with that pretty soon. An instance of shark eat raft. Well, you can swim out and just collect the stuff yourself. It's fairly dangerous, honestly. Did I get it? I almost overshot, actually. Wood is very important early game. But I am going to quickly... There's an island over there. I can see it out of the corner of my eye. Wow, you guys can see it way better than I can. Need more plastic. We're actually heading like straight for that. That's actually pretty good. There's lots of stuff on islands that you can't get anywhere else. Heckin'! I'll get it eventually. I swear. I'll get it again. Raft takes place after an apocalypse that basically drowned the entire world, and all the land that's left was the tops of mountains. More or less. I need a simple purifier. Put it like right there. I don't even have stuff for an island. I might have to stop at the next one. Oh, but I should at least jump off and grab food. I'll need to be careful though. I'll only be able to be off raft for like 20 seconds before it'll just sail straight past the island without me. Wait, while Bruce is busy... A crate. Crates are real good. Better than barrels. I need to remember how to sprint. The game does not pause. Shift. There we go. Heck, let me up. Watermelons? It's gonna have to do. Just a little bit of food. Oh, no, no. No! Why am I so bad today? Let's see. A simple grill. Always a good thing to have. I do need to craft an empty cup so that I can start getting water. Because otherwise I'm just gonna die. You have to have water and you have to have food. Fairly simple. Bruce. Okay, I dodged Bruce. Ow! Just let me get the barrels, Bruce. Please. Delicious, delicious fresh water. Okay. We're doing alright, all things considered. One thing I would like fairly early is a sail. Just remember where it is, though. Do I have to research it? I might have to. No, there it is. Which we can actually make. It's a great thing to get early. It is kinda big. Will speed up our progress a fair bit and allow us to actually steer. Oh, my plastic hook broke. Nice thing is, plastic hooks are pretty cheap, so it's pretty easy to get a new one if you break one. This is a very relaxing game. I mean, am I slowly starving to death? Yes. Can I fix that with a pineapple? Also yes. That did not give me any food at all. Well, hopefully we find an island. Trash or resources, depending on what you'd like to call it, will always spawn in the direction your boat is going. Regardless of whether that's the way you're trying to go. Excuse me, Bruce? At this point, replacing the damage is better than getting a spear, so... Alright. What I might do for the Divine Invasion is, instead of stream it, record it, and pull some clips, even though it's a lot more work for me. Oh wait, there's a crate. Oh, I need that crate. We'll go to the island after the crate. A crate and a barrel. I should probably put chatting music in the background just so there's something. There's another crate way out there. We need to go to the island. It shouldn't despawn. There's a whole nother crate. Can I make a stone axe? Yes. That'll be nice. Can I also make a wooden spear? Yes. So that was the stone axe. I really cannot afford to be wasting materials like that. Let's see. I mean, to be fair, they don't last terribly long, but that's just a waste of materials. Yeah, I'm not going to be able to get that crate. I might not be able to get this island. I need to be... My sail was not pulling me this way nearly enough. This game actually looks really nice on good graphics. I only have it set to good because I didn't know how that affected my computer. Can I get into this little like cove here? Looks like I can. That should keep me from leaving the island. Can't even make a storage. Can easily chop down some trees, get a lot of wood. It's always a nice place to start. And I've developed a system for how I like to build rafts. I like to do 3 tiers on a 7x7. It can get a little bit crowded with like engines and advanced anchors and all that, but you can always expand the bottom layer later. That makes it so it's not too hard to move. It's not like it's not a problem. I'm really struggling with food. Yeah. Can I see a crate? On small islands, there should always be 1 crate. I don't know where Bruce is currently. I might have to fight him for these resources. But I need these resources more than I fear Bruce. Yep, there you are. Alright, let's see if I still got it. And now! Ah, that was a bit too late, I think. Now! Ah, that was too early! And to get out of the water! I don't still got it. I gotta get it back. Ooh, watermelons. Watermelon. Can I make a fishing pole? I can. Oh, heck off. So you just plunk it in the water. I have to remember how to actually fish in this game. It's been a while. I apologize. Ooh, a mackerel. Let's get that cooking up. Once we have enough health to at least take a bite, we're gonna go fight Bruce again. Because if you die, you lose a lot of inventory. I'm actually surprised I got that. Ah, yes, the antenna blueprint. Once you've had a blueprint in your inventory, you can throw it out. You have it, you don't need it again. I'd love to kill Bruce. So many good materials out on this reef. Haven't used gel in my hair in a while, it feels weird. Yeah, fishing's nice and easy in this game. That is not... No, just... Come on. Work with me here. Work with me here. It's been too long. Okay. We need to kill Bruce. Now, there we go. And then hit him as he goes by, which apparently I didn't. There's really not a lot of room for error here. Especially considering I can maybe take like 1 or 2 bites. So you want to hit him in the mouth as he charges at you. But you also don't want to drown. So you gotta balance everything. Usually it takes slightly more than a single wooden spear to kill him. So I am a little concerned that I'm not going to be able to. Because really only spears deal damage to Bruce. Yeah, there goes my spear. He tried. He tried. I need 8... Wait, no, that's... I have to click on it. I need 3 rope. I currently can only make 1. Which means... I need 2 more rope. Wish me luck. Need to go back to land. Okay, now I have 2 rope. There's not really a lot of leaves out there is the problem. The nearest leaves are way over there. That's only 1. I might just have to leave this island. And hope that I can get the next one. Because I just don't have the resources right now. Come on, work with me here. There we go. Goodbye, resources. I will get resources the next one. I just didn't have enough rope after making a... I don't have a spear right now. Gonna need more planks. Palm leaves is a big thing. I don't think that's gonna go far enough. Oh, it did! Okay, so we can make a new spear. I don't want to kill Bruce until we actually get to an island. And I have a good reason for that. Because if I kill him before we get to an island, he's gonna respawn when we're at an island. Which would be very bad. Let's make sure we can survive to another island. I don't know how well you can hear the background music. Probably not very well. Let's see. It's quiet even for me. This is reaching heavily onto this board. No, my hook! This board goes down, it'll probably take the sail with it, and I really can't afford that. Oh, barrel. The whale! I forgot that they added whales a couple major updates ago. The receiver blueprint? Blueprint that I no longer need because I picked it up. Alright. It's a crate out there, isn't it? Yeah, it is. Gonna need that. Let's see. Think it's about time to make a research table. Put it up here in front of the sail. Oh, and if you drop your hook on wood, it's kind of a pain. I'm gonna go grab this crate because I need it. Nope. No, you don't. I saw you. Bad shark. No islands on the horizon. So we're just gonna keep going. Alright, another mackerel. Eat potato. This is a survival game. You gotta make sure all your needs are met. It's a very calming game, honestly. When Bruce tries to eat your raft out from under you and you don't want to kill him yet. I'm actually pretty low on wood, I didn't even realize. Oh good, there's an island ahead. That'll solve my wood problems. Alright, we need a new plastic hook. And what we're going to do with the research bench we made is we're going to research everything we have. We're going to research nail, stone, plastic, palm frond, sand. We can't research sand. Wood, rope. See, and that will allow us to learn collection nets, which is actually quite good. We also need to learn scrap. Alright. So, now we can craft a lot more things than we could before. I kind of want a backstory for this character. Martha was on a cruise ship when it all went down. They kept hearing news reports of the world slowly flooding, but they couldn't believe it. All they could see around them was ocean for miles and miles. Bits of garbage floating past every now and then. She had heard of what had been happening to the oceans, of all the pollution, but she hadn't wanted to believe. But by the time they realized it was all true, it was already too late. Her cruise ship struck a rock. And as it did, they realized it was no measly rock. It was the peak of a mountain. Martha had been on the cruise to try to get away from her troubles. Unfortunately, it had not gone to plan. Instead, the cruise ship began to sink, and she managed to survive on a few pallets lashed together. I guess her Alaskan cruise would have to wait. She ended up being carried off by the trade winds, hoping someone would find her. But they never did. And she was forced to survive, going from mountaintop to mountaintop, carving away at the world. Just trying to cut out a place. A place that she could call home. A raft. That was so corny. Ow! Bruce, you're a pill. What did I unlock? Rose! Roses are actually quite nice. And they do require red flowers, so let's see if there's any red flowers here. There usually is. There's one. Let's see, 3. Okay. It's enough to craft a rose. To remind her of her family. Martha had never married, but that's not to say she hadn't wanted to. She just hadn't found the right man. Let's see, middle mouse. As time passed and Martha's situation became more dire, with sharks circling in the water, not knowing how to put stuff in chests apparently, she realized that more or less she must sink or swim. And Martha had never been one to sink. She would survive, no matter what. She would swim. Alright, come here, Bruce. The shark that had always followed her. She decided it was its time. And when her spear struck through its eye, it was already too late for the beast. Martha needed metal. She needed sand and she needed clay. She knew what she would do. You see, Martha did not simply wish to survive. She wanted to live. She wanted to make a home. She wanted to mildly drown herself, apparently. It's okay. We're okay. Martha had basic understanding of many things, but no specialties. She was never that good of a cook. Never that strong of a contender. I don't know what that means. But Martha did. Martha really needs to stay on the ocean floor for short amounts of time. Martha was having trouble finding sand and clay, but she knew she needed both in much higher quantities than she currently had. Barely a few handfuls would never suffice for her plans. Martha had always loved the outdoors, always loved the prospect of sailing. And that is what set her apart from so many. So many she had spoken to on the cruise ship simply were there because they wanted to see the destination. They didn't care for the journey. Though many of those people she asked why they did not simply take a plane, but they had no response for Martha. Martha loved the ocean. The fish, the coral, even the sharks. She loved the thought of it. She loved the experience. She loved the wind whipping her hair. When Martha had been young, she had always wanted to be a pirate. Unfortunately, her parents told her that piracy was illegal, so they wouldn't let her do it. Martha always thought that was such a great shame. Pirates always seemed like the nicest of people in movies. One of her favorite movies was Pirates of the Caribbean. Or of the Caribbean. Ow! Watching the brave... Oh, I'm so far from shore! Martha realized she had been caught off in her thoughts and had gotten stranded far from shore with a shark shortly behind her. But she knew how to sink or swim. She would jump the shark. That's not what that saying means at all. But who cares? Martha knew she must become one with her foe if she was to understand them. So she did. Let's see. The water tasted good to Martha, but she knew this was an unsustainable way to acquire it. She also knew she was going to have to fight that shark again. And she was not looking forward to it. The shark surprised her as it bit her on the back. And bit her again, taking nibbles each time. It was a little too much for Martha. Martha had to retreat to think. To research clams. Martha needed to craft wet brick. But Martha knew she would need many more wet bricks before the day was done. Something told her, something deep inside. Wet bricks seemed important. This shark meat takes a very long time to cook, thought Martha. And even as her hook fell apart, she knew she would need a new one. Martha was ready to try again. Yeah! Stabbed the shark right in the mouth, hoping that would deter it like punching it on the nose. But alas, it did not. The shark was persistent. It must be hungry. Hungrier even than Martha. And she could feel her stomach screaming at her. Martha began to drown while fighting the shark. This was inopportune moments. She really should have been paying attention to how long she can hold her breath. But the shark was no match for one such as Martha. She was cunning. She would be the bait for the trap. She stabbed the shark over and over, hoping just once to get the best hit. Get it right in its black eye. Oh, and a lag spike hit Martha at a bad time. That was very unfortunate, thought Martha. But Martha was not ready to give up. Not yet. There were many things she needed, and this shark stood in her way. Breaking her spear against the shark's back, it pierced its thick hide, delving deep into its soul, and shattering against its heart. It was enough. Enough to give Martha time. And time is all she could really hope for. It's what she had to play for. Martha's epilepsy always did kick in at the worst of time. Oh no. Yes. Yes, indeed. Martha did not quite like how far this reef went from the island. She needed the resources from it, but it seemed so dangerous going so far from shore with sharks about. But she needed clay, and she needed sand. And she needed the occasional giant clam. She knew. Martha knew what she wanted, and that had always made her strong. She was unrelenting, unwilling to submit. Martha wanted to find a way to craft better weapons. Weapons made of iron and steel. But Martha did not know how to make steel. Perhaps this strange metal under the water would help her. Let's see, there's 3 metal there. Martha always felt that she needed more than she had. That there was never enough sand in the ocean. And perhaps at this time, Martha was right. because Martha did not have enough sand. She wanted to make a pane of glass that could capture the water, that she could use to cleanse it. Martha's just crazy and in the third person. Yes, Martha is just insane. Martha paid for the cruise. That is how Martha got aboard. She paid well. All of the money she had left, so Martha did not really have anything to lose. Martha decided it was time to head back into shore. Maybe gather some seaweed along the way. Perhaps it would become useful in some future way. For now, Martha could not figure out how it could be. But the future holds many secrets that only the past knows. I don't know what that means. Martha needed more sand. Always more sand. She had ideas. Ideas of grandeur. Ideas to live on the sea as she had always wanted. Except instead of being on a ship, she would be on a raft. And it was Martha's time to leave the island. Martha did not particularly like wearing a shark head, as it slightly obscured her view. How she got the money? Robbery. Martha finally was able to make a dry brick. And she decided to research that dry brick and learn how to make a smelter. A smelter would be very helpful to Martha. She would need 6 dry bricks and 6 nails if she wanted to make a whole smelter. And she had just enough clay and sand to make her 6 dry bricks. She would throw them on the ground and let them dry, of course. What use was a wet brick? Martha realized she was going to have to put them in places that the shark can get to. You're stuck again? Martha is also stuck. Martha does not know if you notice. Which way is the sea going? Martha cannot tell. The sea is going that way. That is why nothing is appearing in front of Martha. Hello, shark, thought Martha. Perhaps this would be a friendly shark and would not try to eat Martha. Perhaps it would not be as hungry as the previous ones. Martha doubted this greatly. Martha had many good supplies, but she did not know if she had enough of anything. But Martha would truck on, going forward regardless. Martha had come from a poor family, and being out on her own, without anyone to tell her what to do, it fascinated her. It filled her with glee. Because while her family had been poor, they had been very strict and frugal. They had to be careful with what little money they had. But now she had no fears. She did not have to worry about money or status. Or even how neighbors thought of her, because the only neighbors out here were the birds and the sharks. And Martha liked sharks. Though sharks did not seem to like Martha. Seagulls overhead often signaled that land was nearby. But it was likely the land she had come from. Not land she was moving towards. Martha knew she would need many more planks for the times ahead. And as Martha sailed into the great oblivion, she did not know what could await her. Martha does not know how she missed those plastic bottles. Martha can hear the sounds of seagulls in the background. She does not know if you can. Martha must fight for the safety of her raft! Martha likes that they made a button just to fix rafts. Martha really needs these wet bricks to dry. She cannot really progress until they do. But once they do, this world will learn to fear Martha. Martha was happy with this life. She felt like she could do this forever. It was what she had always wanted, really. Chance for a new life. This world will learn to fear Martha. You missed the few sentences before that about that being in the context of once the wet bricks dry. Martha was surprised that the wet bricks still haven't dried, and was once again surprised by just how long shark meat took to cook. Martha did not want salt water in her cup. Martha had always been told, as a child, that drinking salt water was very bad for you. And she was inclined to agree. It didn't taste very good. Martha once again found herself at an island. Ready and eager to explore this new land, she decided to make port. She knew she would likely have to kill the shark again, and that idea did not fill her with confidence nor joy. Though her bricks, having dried, indeed did fill her with both. Martha does not feel like the raft will stay here. Martha needed to build. Martha would build this way. And she would make a smelter. The first step in her new life was to become something great. And she intended to do it by fire and by the sword. But that was very hard to do here. So she would have to settle for something a little less dramatic. By fire and glass. Martha wondered if others had survived the drowning of the world. Maybe there had been others on cruise ships who had also not succumbed to the endless devastation Martha did not know why the world had sunk. She just accepted it. After all, what really could she do? She was not someone who could change the winds of chance and fate. She was just Martha. Martha's axe shattered into 1,000 pieces. Martha become God. Shh. If Martha could ascend, she would not be opposed. But Martha was unaware of religious practices and how that could even be done. Martha got a lot of mangoes from this tree and not a lot of wood. But Martha is okay with that. Martha would not let the shark eat her raft anymore. Now you have to marry the fish people. You got it backwards. This raft was moving, and Martha did not like it. Martha wished to remain pinned against the island for as long as humanly possible, so that she would have the most time to do her work. Martha would research glass and learn how to make advanced purifiers. This would be her first step towards glory. Martha would also put her flowers away. Martha knew she needed more sand if she wanted to truly live. But that means Martha would once again have to fight the shark. And Martha was not very enthused at that idea. She determined she should eat some of the other sharks before fighting this new one that Martha could not see before it bit her. The heck is this shark? Martha knew she only had one more bite left in her. She would have to be careful. Martha does not know how that shark managed to bite her there. But there was not much she could do about it at the time. She would have to heal. Heal like a dog. Martha would go on to research clay and understand bowls. And one day perhaps she would get a hammock. But that day was not today. Hammocks were only for the rich, thought Martha. Martha wished she had good food and a healing buff. But alas, Martha did not. Martha needed 4 sand to create an advanced purifier. Then she would not have to spend so much wood on the making of water. This would be a great step for Martha. Martha also thought she should melt some of that strange ore that she had found under the ocean. How she knew it was ore was a mystery to her just as much as it was to anyone else. People knew very little about the mystery that was Martha. The misery. Martha wanted eyes on the shark before she jumped back in the water with intent to kill. Martha knew she barely had any breathing room. Her strikes had to be precise. Martha could still see the shark. And chipped away at it. Bit by bit. Spear by spear. And she knew she would be victorious. She was lucky that her father had been a mariner who had taught her how to fight sharks. Her mother had taught her much less useful skills. Or at least, had tried. Martha had never been very interested in the skills her mother tried to teach her. Sewing and cooking had never seemed very adventurous to Martha. However, hunting sharks, now that was another matter entirely. Martha decided she should think about this metal ingot and put it on a table so that she could learn about advanced grills, bolts, and hinges. Did Martha drop her spear? Martha decided that dropping her spear was a very bad idea and decided not to do it again. Shark Hunter Father! Her father had usually been off on some grand adventure. He had been a whaler in his time, and because of that he had learned to hunt sharks as well. To keep his boat and his crew safe. Unfortunately, in the end, he could not save himself from the sharks. And Martha needs to drink more water, or Martha's voice is going to die. Martha needed more sand. She could feel it in her bones. The little ones in her ears, specifically, this far underwater. Martha wanted this sand, and she was unwilling to relent and go to the surface before she had gotten what she wanted. Martha saw much metal in this cave. Thank you! Thank you! Martha has discovered how to sneeze underwater. This is a great scientific discovery. This will make Martha famous. Martha will be like her father. She will be loved. Perhaps one day Martha will have friends to join her on her raft. But that was not today. Today Martha swam alone through the ocean, gathering sand by the handful. A bit of copper as well. She was surprised she could recognize it by the look. She needed it for the strange blueprint she had received earlier, to make antennas and receivers. Martha did not know what she would do with such foolish things, but she was at least interested to find out. Martha needed more scrap. So Martha decided to pick up some of the metal that had fallen to the ocean floor. Or perhaps had risen to the ocean floor. At this point, Martha wasn't really sure. I feel like the heckin' narrator from the Stanley Parable. Martha wanted all the metal she could get. She assumed it had a use. And she was probably right. Martha also wanted sand and clay. She had a strange fascination with them, as if she could never get enough. She knew another shark would come eventually, of course, but she hoped to get as much as she could before that time. Martha's hook shattered again, and in desperation she crafted another one to continue gathering her precious clay. Martha figured if she ended up with too much sand, she could likely create some decorative lamps, something that looked quite nice, to make her raft feel like home. Martha had plans to thwart the great shark and all his sharky brethren and sisters. Martha was not one to assume gender. Martha would line her raft in metal, strong and thick. And by doing so, Martha would constantly use her hook. By doing so, Martha would make it shark-proof. Assorted meats and boiled cheeses, yes. Boiled cheese. Ugh. Martha heard a shark try to bite her. Martha felt a shark bite her. She had to get back to her raft. But she wanted just a little more metal. Martha screamed in pain as the shark's bite finally landed. It hurt more than she had thought. Martha would craft a bolt with her first metal ingot and research it, learning how to make axes and shovels, crop plots and hooks, spears, and strange devices that could throw nets. It was the worst way you could have read that comment. It made me gag. Martha finds that amusing. Martha was done with this island. She had gathered as much as she could, and she was ready to move on. She wished to put away her giant clam. Martha wonders what giant clam tastes like. And just like that, Martha was back on her journey, using up all of her wood to make her poor glass. She was running low on wood. She didn't know what would happen when she ran out, but she figured she would likely starve to death. That was not a very appealing thought for great Martha. Martha needed a better purifier. She needed 2 more plastic and a plank. And she had already thrown her previous purifier overboard. She figured she had enough time before she would die of dehydration. Martha saw a barrel off to the side along with some planks and decided to go for it, hoping her raft wouldn't be too fast for her. The shark came in her absence. It destroyed a piece of her precious home. She would not forgive the shark. It would cost much that she needed to repair the damage the shark had done to her. And to her home. It did not cost as much as Martha thought. Martha, upon this last bit of metal finishing, this last bit of glass finishing, realized she should probably make some metal. Metal sounded very useful to Martha. She had yet to discover what the hinges were for. She was going to open this decorative package so that it would not be in her inventory anymore. Martha suddenly had so much wood, she had no idea what to do with it. But this was good for Martha. Because Martha still needed to craft her water source. And as she did so, she knew she would need to keep it safe. This held much more water and was much more scientific than her little leaf from before. Martha knew she was going to have to be strong. Stronger than the wind or the waves. Stronger than the sea. She just didn't yet know how. Martha saw sea turtles, and this very much drew her attention away from everything she had been doing before. She thought the sea turtles were beautiful. Though her favorite animals were jellyfish. She thought their name amusing. A fish made of jelly? Who would have thought? Martha loved feasting on the flesh of her enemies. It was so satisfying. And Martha would build just a little bit more. Martha saw another island in the distance, and knew that would be a good place to get wood, and maybe some more metal. She knew she would need both. So she decided to alter her course. What Martha really wanted was something called foundation armor. So she could stop the shark once and for all. Martha wanted to make a 7x7 raft. She figured that would be the best size. So she would begin fortifying. Making it stronger than the shark ever was. What are you gonna do if you don't have a firm foundation? Martha was finding it hard to see, and thus decided to make a lantern. She figured this was a waste of resources, but it would make it feel more like home. And home was a good thing to feel like. She also didn't think it was a bad thing that it was centimeters away. Inches. That the flame was mere inches from her only mode of steering. Okay, Martha did feel like she should move it. She figured she'd put it over by the smeltery. Martha would fight for her home! Martha needed to go a little to the right. A little more to the right. This sail is not really affecting Martha's direction of travel. There we go. Martha wanted to go even further in the same direction. She would wedge her raft between the islands, for until she had an anchor, that was the best that Martha could do. She would cause her raft to slam against the island, holding it there. Martha kind of wanted a metal spear, but she knew she couldn't really afford one. It was a shame, really. Though it would make gathering of metal far easier. At least, until the spear broke. Martha was not very good at making tools. She had tinkered in her days, but those days were long past. Martha sometimes felt she was beyond her prime, but she knew on the inside there was still a child trying to get out. And she really didn't want it to. She thought it best that the child stay inside, where it belonged. Martha accidentally dropped planks into the sea. She might have to go back for that. Let the child out. Martha would not let the child out. Martha had plans for the child. And Star is going to stop this here. The child's spirit would be what keeps her alive. It was the only person she could trust. The only thing. She stood yelling, "Let me go!" Martha refused. She knew what was best for the child. Martha wanted a metal spear. And Martha always got what she wanted. Despite the cost in metal, she figured it would be a good investment. Since so much of her metal would go to fortifying her raft against the evil of the shark. Martha's inventory was very full, to the point of overflowing. Martha just realized she threw out her raw shark. And needed it. She needed to cook more shark, of course. Martha would make a spear worthy of Mordor. Did Martha throw out rope? Martha did. Martha was a little absent-minded at times, but she knew that. Martha wished to see the shark before she jumped in the water, so the shark could not sneak up on her as it had so many times before! Martha got bit regardless. Her scars would be a wonderful story if she ever found other people to tell. Martha knew there must be others like her. Somewhere out at sea. Martha's last wooden spear broke, and she began to use her metal one. She hoped it was as well crafted as it appeared. That it could at least kill the shark. Martha missed the shark! Martha does not actually know how she managed to miss a shark. But she did. Martha had once again vanquished her foe. Martha would keep smelting her metal. She hoped it would help. It at least helped her feel at ease. She liked the sound of the metal. And she would take the little metal off the ocean floor. She needed that to fortify against the shark. Mostly what Martha needed now was more metal. It seemed like a good thing to her. She wanted to make her raft strong, stronger than the shark, stronger than her fears. And there was always a good amount of metal to be had, no matter what island she visited. There was always metal. Martha did not actually know why that was. Why, no matter where she was, there was always the same things. Sand, clay, rocks, copper, metal, clams. The clams are what confused her the most, because as far as she was aware, this place was supposed to be a mountaintop. She did not know how clams got on the mountain or why they'd want to be there. It seemed a very strange thing to Martha. Martha loved her metal. It made her feel powerful to have such a strong material so readily available to her. Martha was in the bad part of the reef, but at least she could see metal in the distance, calling out to her, whispering, wanting to be harvested to become part of her new home. Martha had always wanted an RV, and she figured this was a good second. It was simply an RV that went on water. And Martha loved the idea of an amphibious RV. Martha decided once again to jump the shark. She did not know why people were so often jumping sharks, but she did not think that was a great idea. Martha also determined that she had gotten everything she needed, all the metal she could carry, and it was time for her to leave the island. Martha wanted her nails back. Had Martha's nails despawned? Martha didn't know they could do that from such a short distance away. Martha would not make that mistake again. Martha would have to craft new nails. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Martha would fortify. Martha was getting very hungry and very thirsty, so she decided to eat some shark and have her first taste of the freshest water she could ever dream of. It was wonderful. It did not taste of plants. Martha knew she was going to need more wood, and urgently. Was Martha trying to go against the ocean? No, Martha was going with the ocean. The ocean is going that way. Martha was not going with the ocean. Martha needed wood. She needed plastic. She needed many things, and had very few to her name. She would fortify this so she could not lose that. And she would fortify again. Martha wanted collection nets, but she knew she would need a fortified raft before it would be safe to acquire any. Martha once again realized she was not going in the same direction as the ocean. For convenience, Martha decided to roll up her sail so that she would always be going in the direction of the ocean. It would make her life easier. Martha needed 3 more to consume the front of her raft. Don't ask why it shall be consumed. That is for me to know and you to find out. Or not. Martha will not put planks there until she needs to. Because Martha still has a bit of shark. Okay, Martha will put 1 plank. Martha does need many, many more planks, though. As time began to pass, Martha began to feel sad. She didn't know why she felt sad, but she did. Perhaps it was all this trash in the ocean, perhaps it was loneliness, or perhaps it was an impending sense of doom. Martha didn't really know. And not knowing only made her sadder. She wanted a friend. Maybe a goat would do. A llama. A chicken. Anything. Martha hoped that one day she would have a friend. Martha was quite fond of cooked shark by now. It tasted quite nice. Martha needed more planks. She was so very short on them. Martha missed her first strike. It would cost much to repair that. The shark had been faster. Dolphins! Dolphin! Martha loved dolphins. They were such intelligent little squirrely creatures. She loved to hear them yammer away at this or that. Martha did not have a lot of scrap. She could not fortify her whole raft. But she would try nonetheless. Martha did not need 2 stones. Martha actually had no stones, so perhaps having 2 stones would be a good thing. Martha cared less for her singular potato. And the subsequent beat. And for the first time in her life, truly, Martha was happy. She did not know life could be so calm, so joyful. Life had always been a place of taxes and of work. A place where the figurative sharks leapt out of the water every chance they got to try to take whatever you had. Martha had never liked the real world. Her parents sometimes scolded her for playing make-believe too often. Martha thought that was a strange thing to scold someone for. Make-believe was a fun game. Martha had seen an island. Martha wondered if she could make it. If she angled her sail just right. Martha did not believe she could make it to that island. It was too far behind her already. Martha just wanted to feel safe. That was all she had ever really wanted. That's why she had gone on the cruise. To get away from everything she was afraid of, but now she was forced to face it. Like a sailor adrift at sea. Martha thought that was appropriate. For she was a sailor, at least for now. And she was very much adrift at sea. Martha decided not to fill in some of the areas. Martha wanted collection nets on this side. Collection nets would be on that side. Martha was pleased with the design of her raft. Squares were so hydrodynamic, as was Martha herself. I definitely can't keep a straight face after that. Martha needed to protect her boat, but she could not. She must force the shark away. Martha did not know why the shark liked eating that particular part of her raft so much. It didn't look very edible to Martha, though perhaps she would try sometime. Martha would cook more metal. With every piece of her raft, the shark became less and less of a threat. Just an annoyance, like a fly buzzing in her ear constantly. Martha had seawater in her cup. She did not like that. Martha had very little scrap, and she needed scrap in order to make her raft strong. She would have to visit another island. Martha would craft rope so she could hold the plastic Martha had seen another island off in the distance, and it seemed that the ocean was trying to take her there. That barrel was filled with a lot of wood, thought Martha. Many planks to help her in the building of her raft. Martha did not need more palm leaves at this time. Martha did not even need stones at this time. But Martha needed stones more than she needed plastic. Martha had made rafts before. In school, she had had a class just for doing so. Martha had always thought it to be a very strange class to learn how to make rafts. But perhaps her teacher had known something that she hadn't. At least Martha had been a good student and paid attention. Martha needed better storage. And she knew how to get it. She would have to learn about hinges. Martha liked her smeltery. It was her best friend out here on the sea. Always there for her, never letting her down. Martha was happy. Martha was not pleased with the shark, however, who she intended to once again kill. Martha did not know if she should make storage next or continue to improve her great raft. She would need more scrap. Martha knew that. Perhaps storage would be the better option first. So she did not lose anything in her desperate attempt to get resources. So Martha would make a chest. And fill it with everything she did not need. Martha almost tried cooking a shark over plastic. That is something she cannot recommend. Martha wished to keep cooking metal. She knew she would need more. Her raft was only slightly protected against the murderous shark. And even the thought of facing the shark filled her with at least a little bit of fear. Martha was not a fool. Martha needed scrap. She knew this. It would be the first thing that she tried to get here. Though more metal, Martha knew, could never truly hurt. Unless she spent too long getting it, in which case the shark might. Martha stored all her seeds and got ready for something just a little bit risky. She would kill the shark again. She needed the scrap. She was surprised that her spear held up so well, that it was able to defeat an entire shark. Martha wanted metal, and she wanted scrap. Both of these things together, she knew, would keep her safe from the shark. And right now, that was her priority. To be safe. Martha was glad she had loved to swim as a child. Otherwise, she likely would have died long ago. She also liked carrying heavy metal bars underwater as a child. Many people had thought her very strange, but now it seemed that they were the fool. For Martha was using that skill. This deep cave scared Martha. She did not know where it would go. And yet, curiosity almost got the best of her. But she knew she had to live to fight another day. She could not allow herself to be pulled aside. She would live. Not just survive. And her raft, her sweet raft, it would help her do it. More metal. Just what she needed. More scrap. Perhaps she could forge more nails with it. Martha wondered where the shark was, as it had been gone a long time. And it usually came back fairly quickly. Made her concerned that the shark had already returned without her knowledge. And she was far from shore. Martha was quite pleased with the progress she had made thus far. For in only a few hours' time, she had managed to build at least a somewhat formidable raft. Much metal was still needed to complete it. But Martha was not ready to throw in the towel. Every time she saw her raft, it gave her just a sparkle of hope. A glimmer in the night. Martha needed her nails. She would survive. And 7x7 might seem like a small raft, but trust me, we managed to get a lot on a 7x7. Martha realized she might need a paddle. Her raft was getting large now, and one mere sail alone was not enough. But with a paddle she could make up the difference. Ooh, Martha had also learned how to make a stationary anchor. Martha thought that would be quite good. Martha needed 6 plastic and 2 No, Martha did not yet need a paddle. Martha was glad she did not need a paddle. It would have cost too many of her precious resources. Martha always needed more metal. And plastic in her inventory. Martha would build a raft that would make ships look like playthings. For hers would be made for function, where theirs were only made for form. Martha can feel her throat. Martha might have to not stream too much longer. Martha saw another raft off in the distance and decided to investigate. Perhaps there was a friend here. Perhaps not. Only time would tell. Martha found many planks in that barrel. Martha thought that to be good. Martha liked her new purifier. It was so good. Martha received some hinges. That is helpful. Martha could use those not to make an X. Martha thought she could use them to make an X. But Martha was wrong. Martha would have to make collection nets as soon as she was able. Her boat was getting near the point when it would be safe for her to do so. Martha had used much of her plastic and required more. Martha needed to make more nails so that she might have a chance to survive as she fortified each piece of her small boat. Martha wanted an anchor, but anchors were large and Martha knew that. Martha needed to do some head math. Martha had never been terribly good at head math. One, 2, 3, 4. Martha would need a few more poles than she thought. An extra row along the back. Unless Martha decided to extend her raft by 1 in each direction, which would make it nicer. And Martha liked nice things. Martha was surprised that did not give the foundation armor materials back. So let's see. Eight, yes. Martha was not used to building rafts this big, but it seemed reasonable to her. She would make it so. Martha did not know why the planks were so strange. Martha always made 7 by 7. But perhaps Martha was wrong. Perhaps she did not. That made Martha nervous. What else had she been wrong about? Martha needed all her plastic and wood. It would help her to build the raft. For with Martha's new plans, her raft would be just a little bit bigger. Martha needed to plug in her camera. Alright. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Martha had no more nails, and she was running low on scrap. But that would not stop her. Martha thought that was a very strange sound to make. Ah, Martha fell. Martha was a little too late to reach that barrel. But she also knew she needed a new plastic hook. Martha was fairly low on plastic. But that did not disturb her. She would keep building her fortress of a raft. Keep holding out. Because if she wouldn't, who would? Martha got another decoration package. She wondered what she would get this time. String lights. Perhaps that would give some coziness to her home. Martha was too slow to stop the great shark. Plastics. Martha always was on the lookout for plastics. Though she was running low on scrap, she would have to visit an island eventually if she wanted to keep fortifying her new home. Martha would keep talking a lot, but Martha's voice is running out. That's why Martha has not been talking as often. Martha loves the sunrises in this game. They're very beautiful. Very pink. Something you could lose yourself in. If someone else did not lose you first. Martha felt strong. She felt that no matter what she did, she could not go wrong. But she would need an island eventually. Her raft would come together piece by piece. A tiny bit at a time. And she knew that. Martha had never had a whole raft to herself. She had always shared it with others. She had had small rafts, yes, but never one of such size. And with each new honor, she felt safer from the shark that had just bit her. Martha would eventually run out of food. She knew that, too. She was trying to make what she had last as long as possible, though. Perhaps a crate would help her. Give her some metal. Or perhaps some scrap or nails. It did give her some scrap. That would keep her going. At least for a little while. Everything rested on her smeltery. That it would keep going. That it would never fail her. There was an island off to her right, and she could see it. But she wanted the crate first. So she dove into the sea after it. Not getting exactly what she wanted, but not getting things she did not want either. Is there another crate out there? There's 2 more crates. Island, 2 crates. 2 crates! Martha would have to visit the island another day. She had seen something more valuable to her. Martha did not know why she had 2 different stacks of beets. The crate had given her scrap, as Martha had hoped. She would need a constant supply if she was to finish up her fortifications. Martha did not realize how much she was carrying and decided to put some of it away. Including a single raw beet. Martha learned how to make a table. At least now she could sit in silence. Pondering on what sick and twisted joke had brought her here. More scrap. Martha liked scrap. It was so useful. And even though she didn't know where she was going, she knew she'd make it there eventually. Martha was slowly yet surely building her way to freedom. She had, after all, only 6 more things to fortify before she would truly be safe from the great white shark. Five more. Martha could feel a strange feeling bubbling up inside her. Is it pride? Joy? She wasn't really sure. But she did know that she liked it. She learned how to craft a sofa. Pardon? Yep, just a sofa. Seemed a bit strange to Martha to learn how to craft a sofa in the middle of the ocean. But she had experienced stranger things in her life. And was not ready to question every turn in the road. Only her destination. 4 more. Martha would have metal remaining after she was done. She liked that idea. To have leftover metal. She was having trouble catching up to her raft, however. She learned how to craft a hibiscus. She didn't know how she would get the seeds for a hibiscus, but perhaps if she only believed hard enough, that would be all it took. She was so close to greatness, so close to everything she ever wanted. Mostly just safety from the shark. Martha knew she had just enough scrap to finish up her fortifications, but it would cost almost everything she had. Hopefully, there would be a barrel with more, or she would pass an island soon. She needed scrap for many things. Martha already found some scrap. Martha needs to cook more metal. She wants to finish off her project. She will need to visit an island to get enough scrap to make collection nets, but that is only in the back of her mind right now. It does not hold the forefront spot. Martha wished to see an island eventually. She hoped one would appear. But as night settled in, that seemed unlikely. Martha wished to make a bird's nest. And so she did. Perhaps that would allow her to get a friend. Or a meal. Either way, she did not truly care. So long as it helped. Martha was on the shark like white on rice. It could not stand up to her might. Martha saw an island slowly approaching in front of her. This made her happy. She would not have to divert her course to reach it. Martha was very hungry and very thirsty. She could have eaten a whole shark had she had one. But Martha would not allow herself to die. She had to live. She didn't know why she had to live. All she knew was that she did. She'd always valued exploration. Always wanted to see the world, and, well, she finally had a chance to. And she was not going to give it up lightly. One more metal. And her fortifications would be complete. They had cost her much time and many materials, but she hoped they would be worth the cost. Martha wishes you to use her nest, please. Martha realizes this raft is on a perfect collision course with the island. This pleases her. Martha wishes to cook seaweed. Martha is safe from the sharks! Martha can now start to make collection nets with all of her rope. This thought made Martha very happy. Martha wished to kill the bird. Martha did not manage to kill the bird, but the bird did give Martha a feather, giving her more to learn about and to understand. To learn about water bottles and cook pots, bows and nets, and hammocks. If she could get enough feathers, a hammock sounded quite nice to Martha. Martha would need a new spear if she was going to gather from this island. Martha knew this. She also knew she needed to. So she would make a spear, despite the cost. Perhaps she would also make a new axe. Hers, it seemed, was on the verge of shattering. She hoped it could at least get through a single additional tree. But perhaps it couldn't. It was frail and weak. Had Martha finally finished cooking all of her shark? It was good that Martha would need to kill a new shark, because at the moment shark was her main source of food. which did not fill her with great confidence. Martha would use what little was left of her spear before she could make a new one. But she knew the shark was already at least a little injured, though her spear was on the verge of shattering. She knew it would not be enough. Martha was surprised that her spear, at its last hit, gouged out the eye of the shark. And left it dead in the water. Martha needed scrap. She wished for metal as well, but she needed scrap. Martha had plans of grandeur. Plans some might call foolish. But she would not say such things. She would not be willing to accept them. And Martha needed many pieces of scrap. And much wood for her ideas to take form. But wood was not something she could really gather here, so she would gather scrap. And metal, should she find any. For she had come to love the metal. It was useful to her. It allowed her to make spears. And Martha liked spears. Martha knew she had to act fast. The shark would return. It had every time before, and it would again. So she focused her efforts on what she needed most. Scrap and metal. This would serve her well in days to come. Metal for weapons and scrap to make her home just a little bit better. Martha was surprised by how little metal this puny island had. She also needed to move faster. She did not wish to deal with yet another shark. She had no more weapon. It had eaten her last one. The shark had returned. Martha could feel the sting of salt water in the fresh wound. She knew what it meant. She was no fool, after all. She was Martha. And Martha needed a new spear. Martha would see if she could make a better grill. With a little metal, she could. Martha needed nails. She would make quite a few. And she would use these nails to create collection nets with what little leaves she had. Crafting rope was tedious for her, but she knew it was something she had to do. The collection nets would surely prove invaluable. And gathering the feathers was quite helpful to her. Martha needed 4 more collection nets, and she knew she did not have the supplies for such. She could only make 2 more. Martha did not like the direction that collection net was facing. But Martha could not change it right now, as she had no axe. But Martha could make an axe. Martha could not. Martha thought she could make an axe. Oh, Martha could. Martha went through a whirlwind of emotions regarding crafting an axe. That was to be the front of Martha's ship. She would like these. Oh, Martha forgot she can simply pick up collection nets. She does not need to fear. Martha would also like to rotate this one. Martha was only going to play for about 20 more minutes, Martha thought. She did not wish to overstay her island welcome. Actually, Martha kind of wanted that wood. Martha would try to quickly gather the wood and get back on her raft before it sailed away without her. But Martha needed more wood. She had used much on the collection nets and still had more to build. As Martha's raft began to sail away, she jumped after it, catching on at the last possible second. Filled with determination and a good amount of water, Martha knew that she had come so far. For the first time, Martha needed more palm leaves. She needed to finish making her collection nets. How that shark did not bite Martha, Martha did not know. She could only be thankful for the fact. Martha wished to make a better grill. Though it would cost her a little bit of rope, she deemed it worthwhile. It would allow her to cook much more shark meat at once. She did not need her old grill. Martha was not a very good shot with her spear, it seems. But perhaps soon enough she could get a hammock. And that would make Martha happy. Martha had nowhere near enough leaves for another collection net. But she did want to finish up her collection nets. Partially so she would not fall through the ground at any point in time. What did Martha get in her decoration package? A flag. Why was there a flag in the ocean? Martha assumed it must have come off of some great ship of the past. Perhaps she was right. Perhaps she was wrong. No one knew. Martha still didn't have enough leaves yet to make even one more collection net. Martha was finding the collection nets to be quite nice. Letting things be picked up without her needing to try to do so. Martha saw an island on the horizon and decided that she should go to it. Let's see. Martha wanted yet another hook. Martha was proud of how far she had come. For she had indeed gone very far. Martha would eventually want a true anchor. But she did not know exactly where she would put it. Perhaps here, Martha thought. They were very, very large. Martha was pleased with her new grill. It cooked shark very efficiently. Martha had finally managed to stab a bird. She was pleased. She would cook it alongside the shark. And Martha had arrived. With just a few more palm leaves, she could make her last collection net. And then, the bottom of Martha's raft would be complete. As it always should have been. Complete. Just the thought of it filled Martha with joy. Martha's raft was a thing of beauty. Uncomparable. Untouchable. She had worked hard, and she had given much. In the end, she had prospered. Martha could not decide if she wanted the nice stairs or the not nice stairs. Martha decided she wanted the cheap stairs for now and that she would put them here. She would make them better in the future. But she was on the verge of greatness. Even if she didn't really know it. Oh heck, I put that in the wrong spot. That's only gonna give me back half the nails. She goes right there. Martha would build. She would build and build until she could not build anymore. And Martha would make the most beautiful raft she could ever dream of having. The one she had always wanted. Martha got many feathers from that bird. Almost too many, in fact. As Martha looked around, knowing that she hadn't not yet looted this island, that there was still much more to do here, she thought this would be a good place to rest and recover from all that she had done. And so, Martha decided to rest. Well. That name is too long. Alright. Well, that was Raft. If people liked it, maybe I'll do more. If people want to get in on it, let me know. You can always join Martha's Raft as long as it's someone that I know and trust. But yes. We shall see where Martha's adventures take her and how big and beautiful her raft becomes. Because it will become both big and beautiful. But for now, if you liked what you saw, make sure to follow. We're still 5 away from affiliate and the Foxpaw promise. The counter's off. If you want to be informed of when I go live or get snippets from my life, make sure to follow my Twitter. If you want to get informed of when any of us go live or interact with us or the community, then join our Discord. And if you liked what you saw and would like to see more, you can always check out my YouTube. I treat it as a video archive. There are even some YouTube exclusives that I have been working on, though they have been taking me quite some time. And in terms of schedule going forward, I will be tomorrow at 11 a.m. Mountain Daylight Time. I'll be playing Planet Crafter. We've been having a lot of fun with that. It's a pretty chill game, kind of like Raft. Just another casual base building game with a story. At 5 p.m. Mountain Daylight Time, I'll be playing King of the Castle. It requires viewer interaction, so make sure to jump into that and try to dethrone me. But yes. And with that, non refer to BS, solem refer to quid facias. Saving the universe, one ocean at a time. Starseeker Williams, out.